Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Bolen Sound Productions. Today I wanted to do a follow-up episode, a part 2 to stereo enhancement. And basically what I wanted to show you guys is how I use leveling with Slate FGX, this plugin right here. Now I really like this plugin. It just has a lot of really cool features, and the main thing that I use this for is the leveler. For leveling. And just like a brief overview of how mastering works with leveling. A typical master is around -11 to a -8 RMS. See this right here? When the song's coming through, it's going to show me where it's at on the meter. So I'm just going to play some of this, and once again, this is part 2 of mastering my band's song, Enter the Paradox. The song name is Fallen Heroes. And just to clear something up with this song too, there is a previous version of a mix and master of this song available on iTunes right now, as well as Spotify, Xbox Music. And this is going to be the album version. So just wanted to clear that up so everyone was aware of what was going on with this. So this is unreleased still, but it will be out in the next month or so. Okay, so let me play some of the song for you and you'll see the meter go up with the level. Now we're back and better than ever, reborn and ready to rock. Okay, so for rock and metal, you typically want the RMS, probably, hip hop and rap too. You want it as loud as you can get before distortion. And basically where that is right around -8 RMS. Now, with a lot of my production, I'll do a lot of, either like an explosion or like an 808 bass drop going into the chorus. That's standard for me with my production. And I would say in most rock and metal songs. When that hits, like I want to make sure the chorus is around, steadily around -8 RMS, because I want that to be one of the loudest points of the song. And usually when that comes in and hits, the 808 goes over -8 RMS, usually into somewhere around, like right where it shows, like -7. And that's okay, sometimes it'll even go to -6. It's only going there for a second and then popping back. And as long as you don't hear distortion, it's totally fine. It's only really lasting for a second or two. Some people might say, no, don't ever do that. I do it, my mixes sound fine. I never hear distortion when the 808 hits. Mainly probably because if I'm using leveling, it's because I'm using this plugin, which is pretty awesome. I'm going to show you some of the cool features and how I'm using it. So basically, I want to show you guys where we left off in the last episode. I was just using the Pro MB and Pro Q2 on the stereo enhancement. Now we're just focusing on leveling. And where we left off, I had, remember this, the way these settings were? So I have an input gain of 2 dB. I felt it sounded good there. But when I did that, it was definitely peaking. So I brought it down -2 dB. And here it is without the Slate leveling plugin on. Now we're back. So if you look right here, it looks like it's completely peaking. Now we're back. Now I know there's not actually digital distortion going on because I've checked it over many different speakers as well as in my car. And so sometimes you can get away with that without actually hearing digital distortion. And I'll show you where the RMS reading is at, just going through the leveler without it on. Now we're back and better than ever. So I know that's not going to be distorting. Once you get into -5, -6, that's where you're going to start hearing some definite digital distortion. So this is really cool to have this reader right here, this meter. It's very necessary when mastering and getting all the final levels of everything on your album, right? So that when you go from song to song to song, all the levels sound consistent. And some people don't like the dips and valleys, and it depends how you're mastering. Like I like to hear dynamics in my mixing. Like, there's some songs that call for just straight, like streamlined, like limiting compression where there's no peaks and valleys almost at all. And for some kind of music, that's appropriate. I mean, I do like to hear a little bit dynamic. I feel like without that, there's not as much energy in the song. So it's just two different schools of thought, and not one. I don't believe one's right or wrong. It's like it's music. It's an art form, and however that's conveyed is how that's conveyed by the artist. Now, when I'm doing a project for someone else, I always, ask them and show them like, is this okay with you, and get their permission instead of just, doing it as is. I want to make sure their artist's view is complete, and if that doesn't bother them, then and there's an energy being achieved by the track and it's artistic, then we move forward. With my songs, I definitely like to have a blend of both. So, okay, so moving forward here. Now watch what happens. I'm going to clear the clip indicator right there. Watch and to do that, I just clicked it. That's all I did right there. Watch what happens when I put Slate FGX back on. And to enable this plugin, I'm just hitting Command, click. Enables it on and off. Now we're back in better than ever, notice it's not peaking anymore, or at least there's no clip indicators showing it's peaking. And here's the craziest part. Watch this when I enable this plugin back on. I have 0.2 dB of gain up from where it was before this plugin was even on, and we're getting less clipping. So I mean, that's the power of using leveling with this plugin. It's extremely, extremely powerful. Another way that I'm using it is, this is why you always want to do leveling last. It really smooths out that clip indicator right there. So you want it to be a steady stream all the way up before red. You want it literally right there. So we got that, we're achieving that. And you can see a little movement, it's bouncing a bit too. Now we're back in better than ever. I mean, some tracks have, it's just straight, and that's fine, there's nothing wrong with that. This particular song, I wanted that movement happening right there. And I feel like I'm achieving that. I'm also using automation on this plugin for the gain levels. Here I go to my automation. So I'm actually doing quite a bit of automating in certain sections on my master. And I know that a lot of people have questions on, how to do this and how to make, levels more consistent and, or to create more energy in the masters using automation. This is basically how I do it. These sections I have additive gain is on the verses. Waking up all over again to a shame-filled heart and memories of last night. Did I take the time or think the lie could get my life back this way? I can't keep up this facade. So notice how you didn't really hear a change in volume. That's what we're going for. Like, obviously visually you see that this part is louder and this part is going to seems quieter, but I'm actually just leveling, hence the term, the volume so that they appear to be the same volume going into each section. Now without it, you hear a pretty big difference, and once again, I don't mind that difference. Like I said, I feel like it creates energy in the track. However, when I was playing this song back to back on the album, I noticed that when the song before this ended and this came in, it was way quieter and it definitely needed additional leveling. So I came in here, I wanted to do some of the automation, make it sound smooth. And this is the final product I came out with. And I'm much happier with the results, and I'm pretty sure that, the transition from song to song on the album will be much more fluid now because of this. Also, it was lacking kind of some of that edge of the speaker magic that I talk about. And definitely just bumping this by 0.2 dB for the overall track, I'm feeling like it's definitely achieving that a lot more. Also, another cool thing when you do that, something I've noticed, it kind of shaves off the top of those little inconsistencies that you don't really want. I can't really explain why it's doing that, but I like it. Now you might ask what inconsistencies, stuff like that. Every once in a while, like sometimes, there'll be, at least on my mixes and the way I do things, like some transient designer snare clips that I hate the sound of that, and usually when I bring a song in for leveling, it'll shave those off, and it's much more pleasant to listen to. I mean, I like my transient designer hits on my snare really heavy and really in your face. And this kind of smooths those out. And for those of you that don't know, a transient designer basically takes the initial spike, the initial first hit in waveform on usually more percussive tracks like kicks or snares, and it will bring out, here's like your waveform, and then it kind of dissipates down that way. It will bring this initial spike louder in the waveform. And that's really important for cutting through, heavy rock songs or metal songs like this. I actually used it on any style of music I'm working on and just adjust the attack accordingly. Okay, and another cool feature on this FGX level is this constant gain monitoring. Make sure you have this off when you bounce, but sometimes when you're using the gain at levels much higher than 0.2 dB like I'm using, once you get past 1 to 2, 3 to 4, it creates, like, you hear very much noticeable transitions in the music, and this kind of makes it easier to find that proper gain level without it being so over the top noticeable. So make sure you bounce with that off. I bounce the dither off because I don't like the way it makes my mixes sound. Usually when you bring this plugin up, it defaults with it on. I just take it off. Pro Tools is already doing its own form of dithering. And also, I'm already in a 16-bit 44.1 session for mastering. That's how I like to do things. I like to bounce down from my mix and just have the master already at 16:44.1, so there's no conversion and there's no need to dither anymore. All right, so with that, let's hear some of the other sections. Also, something else I noticed on this mix was there's a little bit more buildup of 2K in right here, and I dipped this just a little bit, just 1 dB, and it made a big difference. And well, it's very interesting, and I encourage you guys to try this. Make a CD copy of a master, listen in your car, and then take the digital copy, listen in your car, usually, listen with an MP3, and you'll notice slight differences between the physical CD and the digital, and it's very interesting how and why that happens. And it's important to understand that when a fan or your consumer is listening, they're going to be listening across different speakers in the car, on your computer, from their phone, the physical to the digital, and you have to make sure you have your bases covered. Like on the CD, I noticed no harshness, nothing at all. Everything was like perfectly the way I wanted it. When I played it again from my phone, the digital MP3, I noticed some harsh frequencies around 2K, and I said, okay, I got to go back in and dip that. So I did, and I'm happy with those results. And on the CD, I barely even noticed the difference, so I didn't lose anything. If anything, I got more clarity of that, because not only were some of the vocals harsh in 2K, but there are some other frequencies that just need to come down, and the auto gain, really cleared more things back up. I got a little more magic in the track, and yeah. This is your life. Don't ever forget to set it off. Now we're back and better than ever. Reborn and ready to rock. We're the fallen heroes of the nightlife. We're promise to set it off. Now we're back and better than ever. We're glad we started ready to rock. Another note I want to make is that usually in the last final chorus of a song, I'll have it, if it's a rock or metal song, I'll have the RMS right at -7.7. That's just like a comfortable level I found, where that energy finally builds up to that point. It's not peaking. Everything's on the exact edge of the speaker, and everything's just rocking. And yeah, so with that, thanks for watching this video, guys. And if you guys want to get more information on my band Enter the Paradox, you guys can go to www.entertheparadox.com. Our new album should be out sometime next month in February. And yeah, I'm really excited about the release. I'm really excited about the music video for Fallen Heroes, which we're coming up on the final cut of it in the next couple days. So you guys will get to see that and preview that. And if you guys like this video, be sure to leave a comment and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching, guys.